We are, we are, we are, we are, we are, we are Duel Legion. So like and subscribe.
So to start the deck profile off right, we're doing 3 Hajuns. Hajun is basically your engine. Well, part of your engine. The other part is Daki. 2 Dakis right there. Basically, anytime you normal summon or special summon your Hajun, if you don't know what he does, you get to bring out a Mayakashi monster from your deck to the field. Anytime you special summon a Mayakashi monster from the extra deck to the field, you get to special summon her from the graveyard to the field. So special summon her, bring out her, go into the 3, bring out the 3 from the extra deck, special summon, and then forward and forward and forward like that. Basically, with these 2, you're always going to end off into your level 11, your skeletal. And if you, depending on your hand, you're going to be able to have your link onto. I try to help my hand get that extra monster on board, like that extra boss monster on board with the link. So that's where my deck comes out a little bit different than others. So 1 Shifu, Shafu, whatever you want to call them. Typically you're going to see, in most people's builds, you're going to see 1. If they're trying to go heavy on the Mayakashi monsters, then you'll see 2. But 1 is typically what you see, and then 1 Yasha. Basically, as an extender, you dump 1 Mayakashi monster from your hand, special summon them into the field, and you get to go into the shenanigans. So that's my 7. Had to knock it down. I did do 8 in the beginning, but chopping up, see what works, see what doesn't work. That's the 7 Mayakashi monster engine I have in the main deck. Moving forward to the short but sweet Doom King, 2 of them, and 1 Banshee. You're not going to see a bloom from me because I really didn't feel like I needed it. Pretty much just to say that one, and I found other things to do with that space I took out. This one's just for search and protection. This is for all your shenanigans. If you don't know what Doom King does, then I'm going to pop up a card on this side, read it, pause the frame. If you don't want to read it, cool. It's a big paragraph. I don't feel like going into that. So, moving forward, we're doing 1 Gozuki and 2 Mizukis. Now, typically this is what you're going to see majority of the time with the builds, is you're going to see the 1 Gozuki and the 1 Mizuki, pretty much like a Miller, and these are your special summons from the graveyard, pretty much. You can up it to 3 if you want, if you're trying to do a bigger build. I stepped out at 44. I could easily went to 50. No, not even without even breaking a sweat, and still like just making it faster. So moving forward, we're doing the 2 solitaires. Majority of the time, people do 3-3. 3-3 is in what I'm saying is 3 solitaires and 3 unit zombies. Most people do run 3 of those. I stopped it at 2, again, just for space and trying to mediate that number profile for the deck. So again, I stuck it at 44, chopped some things that I could do without, and added some things I could play with. So instead of those 3-3, I do 2-2 and 2 for Spectral Sword. Reason being, he synchros from the graveyard, like, not to kind of like copy off my PK decks and like other decks like that can play off the graveyard. He, once you use him, if you use him on the field to special summon a synchro monster from your extra deck and then send him to the graveyard, you're basically setting up your next play for next turn, like Phantom Knights do. So it doesn't matter what your hand's going to be, you still have a guaranteed setup play in the graveyard. And with him and Doom King, I could easily get out the level 10 fire zombie monster for a 35 beat stick. Easily. No problems. So that's just part of my shenanigans. I only run the 2 with the 2 solitaire, 2 Spectral Swords and 2 solitaires, just because one begets the other one. So solitaire can go into Spectral Sword, and again, once I get him in the graveyard next turn, I can facilitate a synchro summon. So after I do my shenanigans with my Mayakashi monsters, I can go into my shenanigans with those monsters as well. So moving forward, time for your hand trap package, right? Our long-awaited, semi-hated hand trap package. So with the hand trap package, we're going to be doing 2 blossoms. Pretty self-explanatory. Cut your opponent off. I prefer 2 blossoms at this point, just again mediating space. I did 2 ghost ogres. That is to counteract not just my opponent from facilitating their plays, but to stop cards specifically that I know can stop me from making my plays, such as cards that are banishing zombie cards from the graveyard. Without my reborning or returning from the graveyard or from that remove from play pile, I cannot get those effects out. So once I see like a microcosmos or like a skill drain or anything that can stop me from facilitating my plays on the field in terms of what can hinder me, I rock out with those. So Ghost Ogres for me, I had it at 1. I did bump it up to 2 just for that protection and that counter hit to when they're going into things. And another thing, it cuts off pendulums, cuts off a lot of things, field cards, anything that could be hazardous towards you from making your plays. Cool? Cool. Alright, let's move forward. Of course, you know me and my hating of I hate monster effects. I'm sorry. I just hate them, so effect rally gets my ass. 1 DD Crow again, just for the prevention of their hand traps, and 1 Skullmeister again, just to counter their hand traps. Now, finishing off with the Vampire Chick. Very situational for me. I was running back and forth whether I should put her, whether I should not put her. Going through a whole bunch of stuff. But in terms of attack, she's the only hand trap that gets triggered by attack. And sometimes when your opponent can get a beat stick out on you, she's great. So why not, I thought. So yeah, okay, 1, she's not hurting nobody. I wasn't running the bloom to bring her to my hand. So I just kind of just let her float there. When she comes, she comes. She doesn't, she doesn't. I'm not really stressing her. I could have ran the bloom just to kind of get that extra search out for her or the Yasha. But all in all, I left her as my last hand trap. So that is it for the main monsters in the deck. I run 28, I believe. Yes, 28 monsters in the main deck. And now we're going to get into the spell and trap cards. Well, just the 1 trap card and the rest of our spells, pretty much. So we're going to get that one out the way first. I didn't have Mayhem, and I didn't feel like ordering it because I ordered a bunch of stuff, and I realized I needed Mayhem a little bit too late. So, no Mayhem. I just went Metamorphosis. Cool? Cool. If you don't know what it does, you discard a card from your hand, special summon 1 Mayakashi zombie from the grave, or 1 Mayakashi monster from the remove from play pile onto the field. Can't be affected by card effects that turn. Easy peasy, simple. You can search it out with Mayakashi Return, or you could dump it with Mayakashi Return. You can do whatever you want with Mayakashi Return. You can either bring a Mayakashi monster to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Pretty simple with that one. Continue on with what I like to call like the speed card of the deck. I mill out 1 Foolish Burial because cards like to live in the graveyard in this deck, so why not send them to the graveyard? I run 1 for 1, right? Of course, you can only run 1, so why not? And it brings out your Hajun really quick. It's like an accelerator. It's like playing Nitrous into the deck. Like, it's going crazy. Moving forward for the thinners, we're doing 1 Ghost Meets Girl. I know the effect better than I know the name. So with her, when your opponent has a monster on the field, you can discard 1 zombie monster from your hand and then special summon 1 Shiriguri. Dare I try to butcher the name? I'm gonna put the name on the screen right now just so I don't have to hurt myself. So you special summon 1 of those guys to the field. Really simple, really self-explanatory. It's like kind of like an emergency teleporter for them, or better yet, like a Vendread quick effect for them. So I would have ran 2, but again, for space, I just put it at 1. Just to leave it simple as that. Moving forward, again, the last of the mill out cards is going to be your 1 terraforming, which we're going to get into it right now, might as well, which is going to lead into your 2 zombie worlds to facilitate your Doom King's effects and just make it overwhelming for me. The great thing with Doom King and the Mayakashi cards, once you get locked into only special summoning Mayakashi cards from the extra deck, Doom King is a great floater because it just comes from your main deck with the field card and just starts doing all its shenanigans, while the Mayakashis are just pretty much trying to go for game. So you could do it that way and that route. You can bring out your other beat sticks from the extra decks, which you'll see. But those cards, outside of with the extenders, like you see here with the 1-for-1 and the Call by the Grave, with your other extenders, the Call by the Grave, and your other extenders, your 1-for-1, the Ghost Meets Girl, you'll be able to extend outside of your Mayakashi effects before you go into your Mayakashi effect. So the only way to get the other monsters from the extra deck with the Mayakashis on the field at the same time is to do their effects and get their summonings out first, then go into your Mayakashi summonings after that, then go into your Doom King. Your Doom King starts going, or you could do it vice versa. Go into your Doom King first, then go into your second set, then go into your Mayakashi as your last set, because Mayakashi is always going to come out. Or you could just go, if your hand's not set up that way, you could just go Mayakashis and run support until they get either out you on the field, and then you bring out the rest of them, and the other support you were hiding with the Doom King. Or you just go into your Mayakashi set again because you play doubles. Pretty simple as that, right? Moving forward, sorry to talk so much. We're doing 2 Book of Lives. 2 Book of Lives just primarily for the extension. You get the benefit of outing and removing your opponent's card as well. But primarily, you just get the special summon. I would have ran 3, but I was like, Monster Reborn's a little bit more freer and less situational. So if they don't have anything in their graveyard that I didn't out already, I could just go into Monster Reborn. Moving forward, for the protection, we got the Call by the Grave again, just to out cards effects that happens in the graveyard and to out hand traps. And then the 1 Burial from a Different Dimension. Cool. Run one of those just to get your Mizukis back into your graveyard so you can continue reactivating their effects. So that's it for the main deck build. Again, 44 cards. I really tried 28 monsters, I believe 14 spells, 15 spells, 1 trap. Onto the extra deck, extra deck, extra deck. So in the extra deck, we're just going to go over it really quickly, just to kind of like mitigate the time on this video. Don't want to be killing you guys with too many 25-minute videos. I saw this one was a pretty fast deck build where I could, pretty much explain the deck correctly and show you guys a pretty much entertaining deck profile video. Cool? Cool. So we're doing the Mayakashi extra deck monsters first. We're running 1 of each of the links, and that's going to be Absolute Zero and the Ice Mayakashi. Pretty much she negates the effects anytime a zombie monster is special summoned to the field from the graveyard. You can choose a card on the field, reduce its attack to 0, and negate its effect. And it's not a once per turn or to the end of the phase, so that monster until it leaves the field is 0 with no effect. And she pretty much just provides protection for herself and the card she points to, pretty much. And I just use her really just to build into her. So that's pretty much how I do it. Then we're doing the 2 of the big boy, the 33 beater. Reason being because when he does come back from the graveyard, he presents himself with protection for that turn. So if you just book a life his ass right back, you can just give him protection and just run around and not be afraid for anything that turns. That's why I really don't get mad about anything. We're doing 1 of the Graceful. Again, her return effect is special summon. When she's special summoned from the graveyard, she can pop monsters on the field. So that's why I like her. It's a reoccurring effect. Again, Book of Life or Mizuki, bring her back, pop. Not really stressing it. Since I don't like back rows, that's why I run 2 Tangos. You feel me? Like, I just, that's how I does it. That's how I does it. That's how I does it. Special summon him from the graveyard. Again, pop 2 back rows. Pop a back row for every time you special summon from the graveyard to the field. Then we're doing the 1 of the Poisonous. I didn't really want to go too hard on the Poisonous because he makes both of us dump, and sometimes I don't want to dump. I don't want to mill anything out. And then 2, Like I only use him really going the first set or the second set if I can just switch out, because normally I can get out of level 7 with Tengu. I can get out of level 7 really quick and really easy, so I don't have to go mainline 3, 5, 7 with Tengu all the time. I can just go Tengu, Grateful, and then Skeletal. So that's why I just run one of the 5s. Just for me personally. I do 2 wields though. Why? Because wield's second effect is broken. Especially summon from the graveyard, provides protection. Real easy greasy, and you can go to him much easier and more frequent than the level 5. So that's why I put him at 2. The level 7 and the level 3 you can go into more frequently. The 5 is really situational. So not saying you can't get it, but since you're only really running like a few 3s that really go, like Wield is one of them, and like Shefu, and then with Daki, that's how you get the first 5, and then you're really not going to go into a 5 after that. So why not just leave 1, right? That's how I was thinking. Maybe you was thinking differently. I don't know. Maybe I'm over explaining it. I don't know. That's it for the Mayakashi extra deck monsters, right? You can run them, mix and match them however you want. Your preference. That was my preference wise, because I wanted to make space for Supremacy. Supremacy is broken, especially when you're doing Graceful. She provides protection for fire monsters and synchro monsters. So, easy greasy, especially along when you're running the other ones. I run the level 6 just to get to the level 8 with the Spectral Swords. So once I go into the level 6, which is easy as hell, once he's in the graveyard, I can remove him in the Spectral next turn, bring out the 8, and then get rid of a Mayakashi monster, boost him up, swing. So I run this guy just to have a level 6, and if he were to be banished, like when I go 6 there, bam, to the 8, I can target a card, decrease him by 5. No biggie, no whoops, no foul. So moving forward with these guys, since I already exposed my 8, he's broken, by the way, because you just remove a synchro monster and boost him up by the attack to the end of the turn. So he can just go for game. Then we're doing my level 7. Again, she's broken as well, because just like Supremacy, depending on what you banish from the graveyard, zombie, fire, or synchro, you can pop a back row, pop a front row, or increase all monsters on the field by 300. Really a broken card. I only use the front and back rows, but if you just need to run over somebody real quick, you can provide everybody with 300 boosts. If it mean you trying to go for game. And then last but not least, well, technically least, we're doing my level 10 Big Boss Boy. So I'm not Sungaga, Sun Boy. That's what we're gonna call him. We're gonna call him Sun Boy. Again, I don't be pronouncing these guys' names because I'm not gonna hurt you guys, should you, by even saying these guys' names. So I'm calling them nicknames. That's what I'm doing. Sorry about that. But English, do you speak it? Running him just for the destruction part and the returning part from your grave or remove from play pile. Zombie, synchro monsters, return them, slap after you destroy everything. Kind of broken with him. In this archetype and build, he's much of a late game hit. So after you do your Mayakashi monsters, you're not necessarily going to go into him all the time, but it's easy as hell to go into him, like, because he's just your Doom King and your Spectral Sword. Like, and when you have those in the graveyard, easy as hell. So do your Mayakashis. If they get out on that, if they get you out, like if they out your board with that, the next turn you're pretty much set up for a good game. And then with all your other return effects, you can just bounce the Doom King back to your graveyard or shuffle it back to your deck, and then do a Doom King again. And that's why you run 2, because you can do it again. And have your Doom King out and basically take back the board you just lost. Or if they don't out your board, you can add on to the board that you already have. Simple as that. Yes, I know it's a second turn strategy, but it's the best I could do with what they gave me. Hopefully we get the new support that's supposed to be coming out, supposed to be dropping. I'll be looking forward to that, and I'll do an update build when that happens. But hey, guys, I've been LegendThatSicBoy, and we are Duel Legion. Peace.
Me like, fuck these bitches. What the?